everybody, this is Shauna Woods and Logan Woods here. We found an Easter scavenger hunt through the Bible that we wanted to share. We thought it was kind of fun. So a couple things to know before we get started here. First, you're going to need a Bible, or you can use a Bible app on your phone if you don't have a Bible handy. This is intended for all ages, really. If you have a young child, it's probably best if you do this with them. We are going to kind of walk through the Easter story through the Bible in a scavenger hunt format. So how this is going to work is we're going to give you a book, a chapter, and a verse to look at. And you have to try to find that really quick and search for the particular thing that we're going to tell you to look for. We're going to go kind of fast through this, and so pause it. I would say pause it every time I give you a new verse to give yourself some time to look for the answer. And so to get started, again, grab your Bible or your phone, grab a pencil and a piece of paper of some sort, and you need to number your paper 1 through 8. So 1 through 8 on your paper. And Logan's gonna hold up the verse for you on a little index card so you can maybe see it or remember it a little bit better. So here we go. First things first, if you are in the regular Bible, we're gonna be in the New Testament. And so if you look in the front, kind of the table of contents, you can see all the books of the New Testament. And we're gonna be in Mark, Luke, John, and Matthew. And they're all really close together. So if you wanna go ahead and get close, if you start at the very beginning of the New Testament, you're gonna be super close there with Matthew. So go ahead and get there. Pencil, paper ready, and here we go. Your first scavenger hunt item is something outside that's the same color as the item in John 12 through 13. So hold that up for them to see. In case you need to know, John is the book. The first 12 is the chapter. And then this was the verse that you're looking for. So John the book, chapter 12, and then verse 12 through 13. Pause it if you need to. Write down your answer for number 1. Okay. Number 2. The food item that's in Mark 14:12. The food item that's in Mark 14:12. Pause it, write it down. Next, I'm looking for the kitchen item that is in Luke 22:17. The kitchen item, what's something that you would find in your kitchen that's in Luke chapter 22, verse 17. Next. I'm now looking for the animal that is described or listed in Luke 22:60. So what animal do they mention in Luke 22:60? Next. What color is the robe that they describe in Mark 15:17? What is the color of the robe? Next. What was Jesus carrying in John 19:17? What was Jesus carrying? What item? Next one. This is going to be number 7 for you. This is the sign. This is how they, what they call the sign, like the one mentioned in Matthew 27:37. So what's that sign in Matthew 27:37? The sign said something too. You might read around that verse and see what the sign said. Okay, last one, number 8. This is the item in Mark 16:4. What item is described in Mark 16:4? Okay, now we're going to reveal the answers to you. So if you need a second, again, push pause, give yourself some time to write all of these down. This is kind of taking you through a quick version of the Easter story. And so I would encourage you, if you're a child with mom and dad, if you're an adult on your own, to read around some of these verses that we mentioned. It's a pretty good story. Some of the verses or chapters are a little bit more intense, so you might kind of PG it down to your child, or grab their children's book instead. But it's still a really, really good group of chapters and verses to go through with your child or just you yourself. So going back up to number 1. The color was green because the item is palm branches. And so grass, leaves, anything that you found green outside would have been the answer. Number 2, the item was bread. It was the day of the Passover, the lambs were sacrificed. So the answer there was bread. Number 3, the kitchen item we were looking for is...
Cup.
What?
A cup.
A cup, Logan says. The next one, there was an animal that was mentioned in Luke 22:60. That was a rooster. A rooster was crowing. Number 6, the color robe that Jesus was wrapped in is purple. So they put a purple robe on Jesus. The next one was what Jesus was carrying. You may have figured you knew this answer before even looking it up, but I hope that you read around the verse. It is, in fact, a wooden cross, the wooden cross that Jesus carried up the hill. The next one is the sign. And so it was called a signboard, and that board said, "This is Jesus, King of the Jews." That's what the sign above him said. And the very last one is the item in Mark, and that's where the story gets interesting and where us as Christians, we find hope in this part of the story, and that is where the stone, the item is a stone, and which is like a big rock, and it was rolled away from the tomb where they put Jesus. So somehow he rose and was able to get out of that tomb that he put him in, and he was nowhere to be found. Pretty cool story of hope. So we just thought that was kind of a fun Easter scavenger hunt for you as we're getting close to Easter time. So enjoy that with your family and maybe take some time to read around those verses in a little bit more detail. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye guys, thanks for playing along with us.